On the consent calendar, Senators Bell, Cannella.
Aye.
Cannella, aye. Allen. Bates. Bates, aye. Gaines. Gaines, aye. Galgiani. Leyva. Leyva, aye. McGuire. Mendoza. Roth. Roth, aye. Wachowski.
Allen, aye.
Allen, aye.
That has 7. We'll leave that on call. And we have our chairman back. Thanks. Right in the nick of time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to present on AB 587. I'd like to start off by saying that I've been working with the Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association, WMA, to reach a consensus. We have come to agreements on amendments. However, due to the timing, I'd like to take those amendments in the next committee, which is the Senate Judiciary Committee. Mobile homes are regularly sold on a somewhat informal basis. They are titled through the State Department of Housing and Community Development, or HCD. In order to issue a new certificate of title in a buyer's name, HCD must first confirm that no outstanding fees or taxes are owed on the home. Otherwise, or if the owner is unable to pay, title cannot transfer. A buyer may be unaware of this requirement at the time of the sale, and as a result is in a situation where they pay for their home but have yet no meaningful proof of ownership. And as such, unpaid taxes and fees continue to accumulate on the mobile home because state and county records are outdated and the proper party is not being billed. This exposes the new owner to potentially thousands of dollars in taxes and penalties. It also puts a cloud on the homeowner's title. Without title in their name, the homeowner cannot properly transfer the home or gets repairs made and may even face eviction. AB 587 would establish a temporary tax abatement program to give homeowners the opportunity to bring title into their names without having to pay certain outstanding amounts owing, including delinquencies incurred by previous owners. Tax delinquencies by prior owners would not be forgiven under the bill, and the current owner just wouldn't be required to pay for somebody else's debt. And let me turn it over to my witnesses at this point.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members. Brian Augusta on behalf of the California Rural Legal Assistance Foundation. We, along with Western Center and GSMO, have been working on this bill for the better part of 1.5 years. I think what is before you is as the senator said, or the Assembly member said, a compromise that I think begins to address this very real problem in California of so many mobile homeowners not having homes that are titled in their name. What we've created here is a policy that ensures that those folks can come current. Right now, the nature of the law is such that a homeowner who has taken ownership of a home without getting title and without being aware of the back taxes faces a serious hurdle to even putting title in their name and getting properly registered with the Department of Housing and to put themselves on the tax rolls and come current on taxes. So this creates a process by which a homeowner can overcome that, get title in their name, begin paying future taxes, and ensure that they can get repairs made to their homes and that they're otherwise in compliance with the law. There's still a lot of work to do to fix the broken system that sits behind that, but for now, what we have is a system that will help ensure protection for low-income homeowners who want to do the right thing and get title in their home and protect their ownership interest in their home. And we're happy that we have a compromise on that. We would urge an aye vote.
Good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Diane McPherson, and I live in a mobile home in Santa Rosa. I'm also a board member of California Golden State Manufactured Homeowners Association League, which represents thousands of seniors, veterans, immigrants, and individuals living and owning mobile homes throughout the state. And we are proud to sponsor AB 587, and we do thank our champion, Assemblymember Chow. This bill is a win-win. It's a win for mobile home residents because who are trying to transfer the title into their own names. It's a win for the state and counties who can now update their records so that taxes and fees owed can be collected from the proper individuals. As seniors on fixed incomes living in a mobile home, AB 587 honors 3 basic principles: a home we can afford, the dignity it represents, and living in a community we can call our own. And for many of our GSMOL immigrant residents, it will be the first opportunity they have to own their first home. It's devastating to discover that your title cannot be transferred into your own name, especially when you've already paid for the home and you have no other recourse because this is all your funds. This bill will help to remedy this issue. So GSMOL asks for an aye vote. Thank you.
Anya Lawler with the Western Center on Law and Poverty. We're one of the sponsors of the bill. In support.
Thank you. Do we have other speakers in favor? If not, we'll have the opponents please come forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Catherine Borg with the Western Manufactured Housing Communities Association. We have been working with the author and the sponsor to take care of our concerns with regard to the bill. It has been a very complex process, and we are pleased to inform the committee that we believe that our opposition can be removed with the next set of amendments, and I can answer any technical questions you may have. Thanks.
Okay. Other speakers?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members. Paul Smith with the Rural Counties Association, representing the boards of supervisors of 35 counties. We are in opposition, and we have a formal opposition unless amended. We have obviously not seen the amendments discussed between, I think, the park owner community and the sponsors. Although it sounds from the looks at it, those amendments won't address our concerns. I should state, first of all, that we are in support of a tax amnesty program. We understand the dilemma many mobile homeowners are in, their current owners as well as the prospective owners, and we want to work with the sponsors and those involved in creating a tax amnesty program. But right now we see this, the bill before you and the program created under this bill as being a little bit too lenient, a little bit too expansive relative to the tax obligations that are made to counties. First of all, it's a 3-year window. We're not aware of any tax amnesty in recent years, whether it's the state or local, that has such a large window, and we fear that a lot of taxes will get uncaptured in that. Second is the overall tax burden. We're talking about virtually all of the penalties, the interest, the taxes. This is quite a significant amount of money when you aggregate it statewide, and particularly for a number of counties that have a disproportionate share of these types of mobile homes. And then finally, again, I think speaking to the concerns of the park owners and others, we want to make sure that if we're going to move forward with the tax amnesty program, that something behind it is in place, so we don't just see this tax amnesty as a one-time absolution of those obligations, and yet we find ourselves back to where we are today, 5 years going forward, where we really haven't done the paperwork exchange, which will again lead us to create another tax amnesty further down the road. So until those issues are addressed, we remain opposed, and ask the committee to think long and hard about such a loss of revenue, both to the state as it relates to property taxes as well as to local jurisdictions.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members. Dorothy Holzen with the California State Association of Counties. For the sake of time, I will align my comments with those of Mr. Smith from RCRC. Thank you.
Okay. Other speakers? Questions? Senator Gaines. Senator Cannella.
Yeah, I was just wondering
Senator Leyva, too.
if I get some clarity in terms of the amendments. Catherine Borg, you had mentioned some amendments.
Okay, so we maybe have a general description of the amendments for our senators?
So one of the things that we had asked for and we've been given is some amendments to a rights document that's encumbered in 798.15 of the Civil Code, and we have to annually give out the top 10 rights of residents, and right now it's only things that are in the Civil Code. So the things that we've asked for are things like, you know, hey, you need to pay your taxes, you need to transfer your title, you need to, you need to do a transfer disclosure document, a lot of things that are completely outside of the Civil Code that a resident wouldn't really know. Otherwise, it's a big educational tool. One of the second things that we asked for and we were given is some more clarity from HCD, because they've removed over the last 20, 25 years various tools that we would have been able to utilize to to know if somebody is not properly registered and titled. They used to have a decal program in the front of every mobile home, and you could tell whether they've annually paid their registration and titling fees or their taxes to their local county tax collector. But apparently that burden was too high for the department to keep up with. Their address system was apparently pretty bad. They have a couple rooms full of returned mail it has paid registrations too. Yeah, and so because of that, they got rid of the decal program about 20 years ago. And so you can't walk through a park today like you can through maybe a parking lot and identify whether a car has paid their registration or not. So these homes are just sitting there. We don't know whether they've paid. And then sometimes the HCD inspectors come to us and say, why are you still collecting rent from that person who doesn't have title to their home or, annual registration? It's like, how do we know? We don't know. So we've worked out an amendment in this bill that it's between the resident and HCD, and it's not our burden to try to know that information.
Okay, thank you. Like if I could, there's clarity in terms of the amendments being accepted. You're in support of the bill because the amendments have been.
The amendments have not been formally accepted or drafted yet, so we're kind of, we'll hopefully be resolving all that through a next committee and a next drafting. But that's our intention, is we believe we'll be able to remove our opposition.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see those amendments by the time it gets to judiciary. Is that correct? Yeah.
Another question, if I could.
Senator, yes.
In reference to the amnesty issue, I'm just wondering if we could get clarity. Would this be a one-time amnesty on the tax issue? And then once we get the law in place, hopefully there's clarity, or?
Well, essentially, this is going to be a 3-year pilot program. And, the system is set up in such a way that the mobile home is either obligated to pay either DMV or the local tax collectors, depending on the year of the purchase. Now, having said that, the amount to be waived, for lack of a better term, would be we have to calculate that from the date of purchase to a particular date, depending on the date of purchase. Now, to answer your question, it's a one-time waiver, but it's a 3-year program. So the homeowners have until a timeline to bring their arrears, not their arrears, but they have that timeline for them to bring title to light. So now the point. Let me also briefly address some of the opposition's concern as well. The 3-year period that we decided on was something that we deem necessary to bring these homeowners registration up to date. Now, we're open to having a 2-year time period. I mean, the opposition actually just surfaced yesterday, a couple days ago, so we'll be happy to look at that. As far as the loss revenue, potential loss revenue, we are not forgiving any fees or penalties incurred by prior owners. The county still have the ability to pursue the prior owners for the delinquency. So it's the current owner that we're talking about, because these are the people who would like to transfer title. And these are people who actually should be entitled to legal ownership of the unit. So we're not forgiving any, taxes owed by previous owners. So I don't know if that's going to help clarify.
Okay.
Assemblymember Chow.
Senator Gaines?
Thank you.
Senator Cannell, please.
Yeah, so I think that answered my question, but Mr. Smith, your fear is that you're going to miss out on this tax revenue, and I guess I would say that you weren't going to get it anyway. That's the problem, right? And if you were, then what percentage roughly have counties been able to obtain from folks who, hadn't paid their taxes and transferred over the?
It's very hard to say because of the universe of this problem, but I guess the point that I would also add to this is that when we talk about prior year owners, those are very, very difficult people to get, so to speak. The other issue here is you are creating an amnesty program, so there is an implication that you will at some point get those revenues. I think counties have been very reluctant to foreclose or use their their powers at the local level for these cases, but to say that we would never get it anyways and just wipe it off the books, I think is a big concern.
I understand that, but what would be the motivation for those previous owners to pay? I guess.
That's the point. That is the exact point,
May I
Senator.
finish? So if the current owners aren't, it's not theirs, I'm assuming they can't even pay it probably, they certainly couldn't afford it, so there was no remedy anyway. So I guess giving these folks the ability to get title to their unit, they probably become taxpayers, they probably want to make sure they're current on everything. So I certainly understand your concern, but I just, in this particular case, it doesn't sway me, so, thanks.
Senator Leyva, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank the author for bringing this forward. I think this is a much-needed bill. This is something that we've dealt with quite a bit in the district and on the Committee for Select Mobile Homes. So thank you for that. I have two quick questions. Will the amnesty deadline of December 31st be time enough for HCD to advertise a new program?
We have been.
2019, sorry, I should have put that in there.
Yeah, we have been working very closely with HCD on this particular, this issue as well as others as well. I think the understanding is that is just the most ideal timeline for us to proceed with. If they view otherwise, and we'll be happy to accommodate that as well.
I just want to make sure once this is hopefully passed out of both houses and the governor signs it, that we make sure we have a really robust program of letting homeowners know about this. Number two, how long is the current HCD title and registration backlog? Is it significantly long?
I'm going to defer to Brian.
Let me try to answer that, Senator Leyva. If HCD is here, certainly they should come up and answer your question, but I think the problem is we don't know. I mean, when you describe the backlog, it's not an issue of someone has properly filed something, but they just haven't gotten to processing it. We did have that problem too, but I think the real thing that we're talking about now that's addressed by this bill is that people can't come. Their records are so out of date at this point, and Ms. Borg was describing this mail room of all these returned notices that we've both looked at, where they've sent out filings to people who actually sent their stuff to HCD, and by the time they sent it back, the post office couldn't find that person. So there's a problem there that needs to be addressed. But that's sort of, when you say backlog, that's what I'm thinking of is their records are out of date, and this is one step by which we're going to get those records up to date.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Senator Roth. Question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess my question goes to the rural counties. So what's the total amount of arrearage in the rural counties? And then what's the average per homeowner?
You'd have to give me a second to respond. I don't have an aggregation. I only have a chart of some of our counties. For example, Humboldt, Butte, $830,000 just for that county alone. Amador, $105,000, Imperial, $250,000. So while that doesn't sound like a lot to those counties, it is a significant amount. And I remind that this is also money that's shared between school districts and cities within those counties. So it's not just an incremental amount just to the county itself. It's a larger share. I'd be happy to forward what I have, Senator, to you and your staff to give you a better more fuller picture of the counties that we've seen where there'd be a revenue loss.
Well, I never did this sort of work, and I'm not a tax person. Maybe this question was answered. Is there personal liability for this property tax for those units that are taxed on the county rolls?
In other words, can you put a personal lien against the previous owner?
Can you sue the taxpayer for non-payment of taxes?
That I do not know. You would probably have to ask a property tax collecting entity, probably the tax collector's office. I'm not aware. Usually you put those types of liens where you can truly collect in a foreclosure against real property. These obviously are not real property. These are, for all intents and purposes, personal property.
I mean, I guess I'm sort of fascinated is not the word, bothered, I guess maybe a better word, by the fact that counties can simply sit there and let the arrearage pile up, and then when we get to this point, come in and say, don't take our money away. Well, you don't have the money anyway, and nobody's taking any action to collect the money, so what good is it to have it on the books?
I would say we're not in opposition to creating an amnesty program, Senator. We're talking about creating some type of program which allows some amount of monies to be recaptured here. And, you know, there's obviously a very difficult position to put counties in to collect on a lot of these homeowners because they're in a difficult spot. But we think this needs to be a little bit more judicious and thoughtful about the revenue loss or the potential revenue loss. Again, it's a very large window. Who knows how some owners are going to play that window with respect to future transactions. And again, that's why we'd ask it be narrowed as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Other questions from members? In terms of the bill, this is going to judiciary. There's going to be some more refinement, I call it, as we fully discuss. I recommend approval of this, and we can move it on to judiciary. And you have a closing statement.
Sure, I'll be very happy to work with the opposition to sort out any possibility of gamesmanship, for example. You know, I think if the money were there to be collected, then I think obviously we want to go after them. And as I stated before, I think that we're not forgiving any bad taxes owed by previous owners. I think the counties and municipalities can still go after those guys if they so desire. And I think we're just trying to help out with the new owners or the current owners with title. And I think the system is broken, and it's time for us to do something about it. So with that, I respectfully ask for a vote.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on this item. Okay, Senator Gaines' motion. Call the roll, please.
Assembly Bill 587, the motion is do pass and re-refer to the Committee on Judiciary. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen? Allen, I. Bates? Bates, I. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Roth? Roth, I. Wachowski.
This is a 9-0 vote. We'll leave it open for other members to vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assembly Member. Item 6 is our next item on the file order. Assemblymember Woods, you have the floor. This has no opposition on either side, as I understand it, Senator Cannella. And you could be brief. You have some colleagues backed up here, so we want to make sure they don't have to sit in the Senate chambers for too long. So you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members.
Welcome.
I'd like to start by accepting the committee's amendments.
Thank you.
In the year 2016, there are still too many Californians that do not have access to high-speed internet, especially for the rural communities in my district and many others. As chair of the Select Committee on the Digital Divide in rural California, I convened multiple hearings during the legislative recess to discuss the gaps in broadband coverage and how that gap can be closed. AB 1549 is a direct result of those hearings. The bill is small, but it's an important step towards closing the digital divide. It requires the Department of Transportation, or Caltrans, to keep and maintain an inventory of broadband conduits owned by Caltrans. The inventory or database will make it easier to increase the deployment of high-quality telecommunications.
I'd like to move the bill.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to move the bill.
I'll be really brief, really brief. The information highway is important in the 21st century that we live in. The reality is that many people in my district and many others do not have access to high-speed internet. This bill begins to close that gap. I have two witnesses here to be in support, and I'm sure they'll be brief.
Thank you. Witnesses, please.
State University, thank you for your support of this bill.
Others?
Steve Blum, Associates. I work with cities and local organizations to develop broadband, and we thank you for your support of this bill.
Paul Smith from Rural Counties Association, 35 boards of supervisors, and strong support.
Kim Lewis with the Corporation for Education Network Initiatives in California, or CNIC, in support.
Okay, thank you. Other witnesses in favor of this bill? Witnesses opposed, please. I see none. We have a motion. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Assembly Bill 1549, the motion is do pass as amended and re-refer to the Committee on Appropriations. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, I. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, I. Allen? Allen, I. Bates? Bates, I. Gaines? Gaines, I. Galgiani? Galgiani, I. Leyva? Leyva, I. McGuire? Mendoza? Mendoza, I. Roth? Roth, I. Wachowski.
Has 9 votes, Assemblyman Wood, and good job on working out the amendments.
Thank you very much.
And we'll leave that open for remaining members to vote. And we'll go to Assemblymember Bonilla's bill. This is 1592, the autonomous vehicles. And we have no opposition to this bill.
It does have opposition.
Oh, it does? Okay. There's some opposition. Oh, yeah,
I'll have to-
there's some opposition, so.
Thank
Okay,
you
thank
so
you.
much, Mr. Chair and members. I present to you AB 1592, which enables the Contra Costa Transportation Authority to conduct a pilot project for the testing of autonomous vehicles not equipped with a steering wheel, a brake pedal, or an operator. States such as Texas, Michigan, Nevada, and Arizona are moving quickly ahead with their testing of vehicles, and we want to make sure that California does not lag behind. Autonomous vehicles, as we know, are inevitably the future, and the importance of safety and testing is something that we want to make sure that we're in the lead position in. We also know that as autonomous vehicles come into being in our state, that they're going to help us increase road safety, improve our mobility, and ultimately help us meet our state's climate goals. As a regional leader in transportation, the Contra Costa Transportation Authority developed something called the GoMentum Station, which is the largest public secure testing facility in the United States. It's located at the Concord Naval Weapons Station within my district. Currently, CCTA is hosting autonomous vehicle testing at the station, but they plan to expand their testing program to include a specific type of electric low-speed multi-passenger vehicle that does not have a brake pedal, accelerator, steering wheel, or operator. I call this shuttle a people mover to kind of help visualize it. And it's being tested and approved for public use already in Europe. This shuttle is primarily used for first and last mile connections of individuals to transit or their places of businesses along a fixed route and a very slow speed. The DMV is still drafting their final regulations for the deployment of autonomous vehicles on public roads, and they do not yet authorize the operation of these shared autonomous vehicles that CCTA will be testing. AB 1592 remedies this barrier to autonomous vehicle development by allowing CCTA to continue to cultivate safe, convenient, complementary, and alternative modes of transportation at GoMentum and also a private business park in Contra Costa County. In order for our state to remain on the cutting edge of transportation, we believe that we need this bill to move forward and that it will help us move in the right direction, the correct direction of maintaining our testing, increasing the safety as we test more, and ultimately building the public trust as we're able to roll this out in a very careful fashion. I would like to say that I am taking the committee amendments that were suggested, and thank you very much for your staff's work and your work with us on this bill, that would be accepting the amendment that requires a $5 million liability insurance and the reporting of accidents and malfunctions during operations at the private business park, and also adding the privacy provision included in the committee analysis, which ensures that only information related to the operation of the vehicle and its environment can be collected, and that data cannot be used for marketing or other commercial purposes. Today I have with me Randy Iwasaki, the former director of Caltrans and current director of Contra Costa Transportation Authority, to give additional testimony.
Thank you. Okay. Witnesses, please.
Thank you, Chairman Bell and committee members. My name is Randy Iwasaki, and I work for the Contra Costa Transportation Authority. We're one of the 20 counties in California that uses sales tax to fund transportation projects and programs. And we're in the current process of updating our countywide transportation plan. And Lindsay Willis, who is behind me, she's our Director of External Affairs, has utilized social media, telephone town halls, and other methods to gather information from our taxpayers about, what do they need from a transportation perspective. And over and over and over again, we've heard that this first and last mile is a big issue. I can't get to transit. I want to take BART. I want to take a bus, but there's no parking or I live too far away. And so in order to solve that problem, we've scoured and I like to say the universe, but actually we just settled on the earth. And we took a hard look at all the technologies that are available, and we came up with this one technology called EasyMile. It's a joint venture between Robosoft, a software company, and Ligier Motors out of France. They build cars. And they're building this 12-person shuttle. It sits 6, and it stands 6 more. It has enough room for 1 wheelchair. It has a wheelchair ramp. It's electric motor, so zero-emission vehicle. And it provides that last-mile connectivity at a slower speed. It's being deployed in 5 or 6 other countries currently on the public roads. In our case, what our plan is to take delivery sometime early July and test them at Gomentum Station. It's a 5,000 acre, it's the former Naval Weapons Station. Test that, making sure the software, the hardware, the sensors are all synced, make sure it works right, make sure it can read where it's at, doesn't hit any fixed objects or moving objects for that matter. Once we're convinced that it's secure and safe, then we're going to roll it out at Bishop Ranch. Bishop Ranch is a 600-acre business park in San Ramon along Interstate 680. Interstate 680 is the 5th worst commute in the Bay Area because of all the people going down the Silicon Valley. And what we're trying to do is fix congestion. My thoughts, and this is just my thoughts, but it's going to be very difficult in the future to build your way out of congestion. You're not going to build new infrastructure. You're going to have to find other ways of moving people, and we think this is a way to do that. Bishop Ranch, the first utilization of express buses in and out of the 2 BART stations, both Dublin and Walnut Creek. Currently, they have to weave throughout the 600-acre business park. It's very inefficient. So the idea is drop all the workers off, have these shuttles take them to their point of business, and then bring them back, and they can go to lunch at various restaurants throughout and don't have to drive their car to this 30,000-person business park. And so that's the idea, and I stand ready to
Thank you.
answer any questions.
Other witnesses, just name and identification.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Michael Gunning, Personal Insurance Federation, here in support. As you know, our guys are concerned about autonomous vehicles, but certainly think that road safety and improvements to roads, the safety of the roads is important, so we're here in support. Thank you.
Other witnesses, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Keith Dunn, on behalf of the Self-Help Counties Coalition here in support, we'd like to commend Contra Costa on their innovative approach to helping solve some of our transportation problems. The more we can integrate technology into our systems, we're going to save not only on some of the costs of getting our people to and from home and work, but also on some of the fuels that we currently are paying to get them there, improving air quality in our environment. So we'd like to ask for your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Cornelius Burke with the Bay Area Council in support.
Thank you. Witnesses in favor?
Paul Rosinski on behalf of the Bay Area Rapid Transit District in support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Witnesses in favor. Other witnesses opposed, please. Yeah, go opposition, please. Yes.
Mr. Chairman and members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters and the Amalgamated Transit Union. We're actually concerned with the fundamental safety question related to the not having an ability to stop this vehicle while they're being tested on public roads or where there's an access to the public, either by our drivers driving transit vehicles so we don't have an issue with testing at the Concord Naval Weapons Station. The question is, you're now changing the state regulations and you're now going to have this vehicle, however slow it is, or however fast it is, with no way for any person during the testing process to stop the vehicle if there's an accident. And with autonomous vehicles, the issue is not often the autonomous vehicle, it's the people in the public hitting the autonomous vehicle. The autonomous vehicle is a very rational object. Human beings are not always rational and don't always make good decisions when they're driving. And we're going to have people in these things. And obviously, ultimately, it may make sense to have these things on public highways that are completely autonomous with no person able to intervene to stop it or whatever, and that may be the future. The question is whether in a testing phase we should be permitting that. And then at some future point, when the state and federal government authorize this, to then move forward to having it on where it's crossing public roads or where there's access of the general public. Okay. So that's our objection, and we'd urge a no vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, other speakers? Perhaps a response to the concern that was raised. I would like to have a response, if you could, quick.
So that's the reason why we're testing. And first of all, the Easy Mile shuttle is a very slow speed. It's going to be tested and deployed at about 12, 13 miles per hour. The real issue is going to be is if there is something in front of it to get the thing moving again. And so the idea is this, and Barry's correct, if you can't avoid somebody hitting the vehicle, I mean, you have that problem no matter where you go. But in our case, the sensors is going to stop that vehicle. It won't move until it's free in front of it. And so that's a concern, is how do we maneuver that vehicle around a fixed object that it doesn't want to cross a double yellow line or do certain kinds of things that the vehicle code won't allow it to do. It's programmed not to do, and so we have to figure that out. But that's the reason why we're testing the vehicle. First of all, in a totally secure location that's guarded by the military currently. Ultimately, it will be turned over to the city of Concord, and that's why we're looking for that waiver.
Questions from members? I think it's worthy to make a point that there's obviously something you can do to continue in the first phase of the testing to look at this particular issue that's been raised. Yeah, and I think if you do that, I think our committee amendments handle kind of the technical end of things on the bill, but in terms of the operational, when you go out with this, it's something obviously that you're going to have to deal with. So I would suggest that you include that in your work plan that you have for this as you go into your testing phase. That's certainly a logical thing to do. So any other comments from people? Assemblywoman, you have the close.
Thank you so much. I do just want to also reassure the committee that we are working with the DMV. We've had them out to see both sites. We're hoping that actually this bill informs their regulations, as they didn't really anticipate this shuttle, and we're thinking just of individual autonomous cars. I actually believe this shuttle approach is going to be the thing that precedes any kind of autonomous single individual driving as it goes from parking structures perhaps to transit or around a business park. And I think it is that first wave. And of course, safety is of paramount importance. No one, of course, wants to put the public at any risk. And certainly, we see that without building a strong record of public trust, we would actually damage the rollout and the future of an adoption of autonomous vehicles. So that is definitely included. That's why the testing at the secure location is very, very important. And thank you so much for your consideration, and ask for your aye vote.
Okay. If there's a motion to approve it with committee amendments, there's a motion on approval with committee amendments, and we'll call the roll.
Assembly Bill 1592, the motion is do pass as amended. Senators Bell?
Aye.
Bell, aye. Cannella?
Aye.
Cannella, aye. Allen? Allen, aye. Bates? Bates, aye. Gaines? Gaines, aye. Galgiani? Galgiani, aye. Leyva? Leyva, aye. McGuire? McGuire, aye. Mendoza? Mendoza, aye. Roth? Roth, aye. Wachowski.